Hey everyone, welcome back to another Wednesday live stream with the Shower Door Professionals here in Zoom, and we're streaming live on Facebook. Glad you could join us. Hope you're having a great week so far. We're halfway through it, and it's a good time to just kind of pause and think about what's happening here and get together with some friends who are in the shower door business, talk to them, see what they're doing, see what's trending out there, and maybe get some tips. Who knows? We always have a good time though. So if you are listening to us, um, uh, go ahead and like subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like, give us a thumbs up, ring the little bell, whatever they do. And tell all your friends about it, because I'm sure there's shower door people out there who haven't found us yet. And that's sad if you think about it. Kind of like shower door people who aren't in the shower door group. I mean, it shouldn't be like that. Anyway, I see Christina out there. I don't know. Are you busy? What's going on? Do you have time to talk to us for a minute?
Yeah, hey Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Getting stuff done.
All right.
But yeah, my name's Christina. I'm the president of the Shower Door Professionals Co-op. And if you don't know what that is, please go to showerdoorprofessionals.com or reach out to myself, Chris, Shannon, um, Rob Gomez, Lana, um, or Mike Merlina. We are all part of the board and advisors of the board and all that good stuff. Um, a couple of things going on. We have a lot of new members, several new members in the pipeline we're really excited about. So if you filled out the interest form from the showerdoorprofessionals.com website, we have not forgotten about you. We are working through your vetting process, if you will, just to make sure you're legit and, use good hardware and do the right thing and have good reviews and all that good stuff. We have a member benefits page on the website. So if you've been to the website and you're like, Ma, I don't really get this, or this doesn't answer my questions, or this isn't for me, it's been revamped a little bit. So take another look if you'd like.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of amazing support. So I just also want to shout out Brian Schwartz. He's been doing such a great job with the Instagram page and promoting Shower Door Professionals Co-op. We have Jerry Bierman involved with education. Couldn't think of anybody better. Morgan Miller doing event planning. Can't think of anybody better.
Yep.
Um, we have a really solid group. Rob Gomez is helping
Mhm.
members get elevated to the level of, being vetted in the co-op, whether that means a website or extra reviews or whatever the case. So thank you to all of you who are putting your best foot forward and helping the co-op, helping the industry. It's slow progress, but it is progress for the whole industry. And if you want to get involved, please reach out. We would be more than happy to have you. Um, Prayers going out for the Landa family this week, last week, next week, all the time. And we're a big family here, so that all of these things we hear are, you're in our thoughts and prayers. So um I don't know what other major news or business we have to advise on. Chris, did I miss anything crazy?
I think that's a great recap.
Right.
And you're right, it's like an all-star cast, it's like you're reading off this list of names. I'm like, wow, man, those people are in our group.
Yeah.
Got a great group. So, and especially you. Thanks for being our leader and all that you do to keep it rolling. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Proud to be a part of it.
It's really fun. You're the heartbeat. So anyway, glad to be here and reach out if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you have questions, if you're like, this sounds crazy or kooky, or if you have feedback and you're like, this sounds like baloney, call me, whatever, we'll chat. So,
Love it. Thanks, Chris.
yeah, no worries.
Well, I'm super excited about tonight's guest. Is Andy Reid with Glazier Software. I don't know. I've seen like kind of some different names used? Do you guys just call it like Glazer?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, just so it's like Glazer. That's cool. I like it. Now, Andy, you've been a member of the Shower Door Professionals group for a long time. And it was funny because when I saw your name come through, I was like, oh man, yeah, I recognize that name. He's been around. You've been around for like what, 10 or 15 years, something like that.
In that group?
In the group, in the Shower Door Professionals group.
No, that one's not accurate. I
No,
found out of the group through Chris Sereno.
now I thought that it showed. Oh, maybe I just saw like your Facebook. How long you been on Facebook? It might have been.
That's probably it, yeah.
That's probably what it is because it's like, oh wow, so I thought you'd been a member since like 2010 or something like that.
No,
Crazy.
no.
All right, never mind. I'll just edit all that out.
All good.
No, I won't. I'll leave it in because it's my goof. It's funny. But anyway, so Andy, thanks for joining us, man. I'm really interested in hearing about what you guys do. So just feel free to share your screen, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to, you can save some time for questions and yeah, take it away.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're excited to be here and present and talk a little bit about software as a whole, Glazier as a whole, just sort of trying to digitize like a lot of processes for people. But yeah, I'll kick things off. My name is Andy Reid, not the Chiefs coach. I'm actually a big Bills fan, so that is a thorn in my side for the last 5 years. Either way, yeah, I am the kind of like main salesperson here at Glazier Software. Glazier Software was founded about 3 years ago. We created Glazier because we looked at a lot of software companies for basically subcontractors and other types of trades, and we realized a lot of other trades, whether it be roofing or plumbing or HVAC or other for GCs, has like Procore. There's generally like a pretty big software company out there, and for whatever reason, in the glazing world, there was just sort of left behind. There was like the smart glaciers of the world and Main Streets and some of these softwares that have been around for 15, 20 years, and those are good programs. But, for the most part, most people we talk to are still using a lot of pen and paper, Excel sheets, QuickBooks to just run their business. There's not really like a, say, standard way for people to do things that involve a certain type of like streamlined system. So we started about 3 years ago, really went to market about 2 years ago, which is pretty much how long I've been there. And yeah, now we service anywhere from between one-man owner operator shops dealing, maybe with primarily shower doors, all the way up to our largest has multiple locations, a little bit over 100 employees, and does everything, scaling from $7 million plus projects. So service pretty much everywhere out there in the world, depending on independent of the type of work you do. So yeah, what I'll go through today, I understand like a lot of people are going to be listening and not be able to see my screen, but I'm going to do a quick 15, 20-minute demo, just running through a pretty basic, say, like service job in how our platform works and the benefits, and then just open it up to sort of questions. But I would be curious, I guess, just of people on the call. I know looking at names, I've spoken to quite a few of you already, but is who out there, I guess, does use like software today, like outside of QuickBooks? I know a lot of people, I'm sure, are using showers online, but I'd be curious just to kind of hear like the main platforms people are using to run their business, if anybody wants to chime in.
Christina's raising her hand.
I use Smart Glazer. It looks like Cameron does too. I know a number of us use Smart Glazer.
Sure. How long have you been on there? Just out of curiosity.
We went live October of 2020.
Nice. What would be, I
Yeah.
guess?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, about 1 year, give or take.
Nice. I guess I'd be curious to know, I guess, like the benefits that you guys have seen just in general from Smart Glazier, but also just like a software in general.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started. I've done like ads for them because it's great. And I hate to say that, Andy, because I know that you guys are so wonderful and awesome, and the progress that you guys have made in just the very few years you've been in business is so incredible. So I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. That being said, we had to use software. We had to do something during COVID. And in 2020, our business like tripled in just a matter of months. So it was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. So the contact management was great. We were using paper and hand deductions, and so getting to that showers online level was a big hurdle for us, and that was a big deal. We also use the inventory management part of it. The scheduler is great. There's an app involved so that we can do a really good job with our scheduling and optimizing our drive times and schedules. Reporting isn't amazing, but they have reports and I can pull those in and make pivot tables and stuff. And then, I mean, it helps us manage our vendors so we know where our purchases are coming from and when they're late, especially because that's a theme for our vendors sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a theme for everyone's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I see a lot of things with Smart Glazier in the chat. This being nice about the reporting. Yeah. I mean, I'm friends with all the Smart Glazier guys. We are direct competitors. However, them and I have both spoken. I mean, our main goal here is not for both of us. It's not really to get people off of each other's software. It's to just get people using, honestly, computers. For many cases, the first time. Like one thing I think I heard there was, like, the main benefit is just understanding like where things are at any given point. Like one common story I hear all the time is that for these businesses that are not on any software, that is, if a customer, calls in wondering like what's the status of a job, a lot of times they really don't know. It involves like going to the back, trying to find some paper out of some bin, and that's not really the most professional experience to the customer. And then also, it's just time wasted out of the day, right? Not to be, I guess, too blunt, but it is 2025. I don't think we should be able to give someone an answer if they call in and not have to delay something by like 5 or 10 minutes, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and then we can kind of dive in a little bit into what we do here. So what you're going to see and what I'll run through is a general overview of Glazier, our platform, and then we'll run through a job just from, say, start to finish pretty quickly. And as I go through, if anybody wants to interrupt, feel free to unmute yourselves or throw something in the chat. But yeah, we can kick things off. So some general context here. Glazier Software is a cloud-based program, meaning you can access this from anywhere. Every individual user in the business would have their own login. And then on the field side, we do have a native mobile app, meaning that it's downloadable in both the Apple and Android App Store. It also works offline in case your guys are out in the field and you don't have service in some cases. What you're seeing on the screen here now is the main dashboard. So the main dashboard is meant to give everybody updates as to what is changing on a day-to-day. So one of the benefits of our software and software as a whole is just a lot of automations, meaning things will move based on other things that happen in the software, right? So what you'll see is if jobs are marked as 1, they will automatically pop up towards the top. One area I talk to businesses a lot about is really just following up on quotes they send out. So typically the answer I hear when I ask what's your process on following up if you say sent out a quote and you haven't heard from them in 5 days, honestly, the most common answer I hear is that we don't do it, which to me is really just money left on the table, right? So if it's been 3 or 4 or 5 days and you haven't heard from somebody, Glazier will automatically actually follow up on your behalf. So this is a list if you would like to call them and add that personal touch. However, it will automatically email and text customers up to 3 times after you send out a quote, based on a bunch of settings that you configure. The same thing also happens with scheduled appointments, so automatic email and text reminders to customers, as well as overdue invoices as well. So if you'd rather collecting money, we'll automatically ping them for you. We have a few different areas that I'll get into more detail of purchase order management, right? So what has been checked in so we can start scheduling that? What is set to arrive this week? What is potentially delayed or rejected, whether something came in and it was back ordered or something was damaged. So you guys can handle those things. In our system, you can as well text back and forth with customers. You can send them quotes, you can send them images, they can send you images. And then one of the biggest gaps that we talk to in businesses is the communication between what's going on in the field and then what's happening back in the office, right? So I'll go through here, but we have, again, a mobile app. At any time a measure or an install is done, you guys will get alerted in the office. And then in that case, you can either start building out a quote, tracking job progress, whatever it might be. Now, from a very high level, the way that we break down jobs here is really two things. It is what you are bidding, meaning just a job that you have not marked it as won yet, versus what has been won, and then furthermore by the job category, right? Is it a pickup job? Is it commercial? Is it residential? If I click into, let's say, my residential bids, another thing that you will see up top here is what we call stages. So what is ready to be measured? Is it measure complete? Has the quote been sent? Is the job won? We need to order the glass, whatever it may be. Up at the top here, these are all fully customizable. So some customers of ours have 5, some have 25. It's really completely up to the business on how they want to configure this system for them. Another thing that we do is also break these down by category, meaning your residential might start with ready to be measured, but if I go over here to commercial, we'll see the first thing has then I've been invited to bid. I need to do takeoffs. I need to finalize measurement. I need to do paperwork, whatever it might be. You'll see as well as I go through these, but a lot of these things move automatically. So we refer to them as workflow automations, but essentially that means when I send a quote to a customer, for example, this will automatically move from create a quote to quote set. No one has to manually move that into a job stage. It's just done automatically based on actions that you guys do in the software. Now, up at the top, you can search by jobs if someone were to call in by anything from job name, customer name, phone number, whatever it might be, and pull up the main job page. So this main job page that everybody is looking at right now is going to be the area people spend most of their time. So everything that you see in this blue side is all going to be specific to this individual project, right? So we have unlimited document storage, meaning you can create folders inside of folders. It works very similar to like a Google Drive or a OneDrive. Every quote, every purchase order, change orders on the commercial side, quote requests, takeoffs, whatever it might be. It's basically impossible in Glazier to do something and not have it be tied to a job in specific. So if a customer does call in or you need to find something on a project, you can quickly search that job and then have all the pieces of information that you need directly tied to this project. And then you would also have a timeline. So for those who can't see on the right side, we have a timeline. So every action that has ever taken place in the software is timestamped, it's recorded, who did it, what did they do, etc. Now, let's talk through running through a job from start to finish. So for the sake of time, I'm going to run through just like a quick service job, for example. If I mark a job as ready to be measured, what that is going to do is bring this job into the scheduling pool. So if I go back here, what you're going to see, so similar to the kind of maps we were talking about before, our scheduling tool works in a few different ways. So we have a scheduling pool, which on the right side is every job in Glazier that is marked as ready to be measured or ready to be installed or ready to be fabricated. It's essentially things that need to get put on a schedule, but they are not scheduled with the customer yet. So those will automatically show up on the right based on job stages. What you see on this map, for those that can't see, are the jobs that are unscheduled are going to show up in gray. And then technicians are going to have their own colors. So the point of this is if you do have a same day job, you'll be able to see where technicians are. And then simply to schedule, I will just take this job, drag and drop it onto whoever's schedule that makes the most sense, select how long they may need to be there. I can add additional people like helpers or a crew if that needs to be the case. And then at the point of scheduling is when I will assign what we refer to as a checklist, more commonly known as a measure sheet. In Glazier, you can customize, and we'll get through this when I go into the app, as many measure sheets as you want. So if you need to obviously collect different information for, say, a shower door versus a storefront job versus just like a service job, you can have different measure sheets. And then at the point of scheduling is when I will assign the measure sheet that makes the most sense. And then I can add in any details like a gate code or whatever someone might need.
Mm-hmm.
On here, we also have weekly views, we have monthly views. You can schedule time off, sick leave, whatever it might be. So truly a master schedule for all of the jobs going on in the business. Now, I'm going to hop into the mobile side here. Actually, while I'm doing that, does anybody have any questions on anything I'm sharing so far? I have to figure out how to do this on Zoom. I'm used to doing this on Google Meet. So,
All right, you're doing great.
You're doing a great job. And Mike Merlina has a question. He wrote in chat, what part of the data gets synced to work offline when there's no service? What can and can't you do or access while offline?
Got it. So you have access to basically everything in the mobile app. So as I open this up, it'll make a little bit more sense. The only real difference is that everything that you've preloaded, meaning if you've opened up your phone at some point in the day and you had service and you clicked into the job, that will all be there. So any documents, photos, whatever it might be. You can complete a measure, you can complete an install, you can actually add photos and add documents to the app, even if you're offline. They just will not appear in the office until you gain service. But basically, like 90% of the system and the mobile app is accessible and usable on the mobile app, no matter where you are. Okay. I'm not sure.
You were talking about like assigning measure sheets for like different, tasks or whatever. So do you have to, does someone in the office have to assign that? Can a technician in the field decide, oh, you know what, I need this measure sheet and just pull one up and use it?
Yeah, good question. So you have both options. Typically, you'll have like a default one that goes in automatically. However, if you show up, a technician shows up, and the customer changed their mind, they need to do something else, they have the ability to add any measure sheet at any time.
Cool.
All right, here we go. I'm joining this on my phone. Give me 1 second. 374-258.
And something that Andy didn't mention, but something that we talked about at Glass Build was, while you're pulling that up, Andy, something Glazier Software does well, I think, is they're not bound and committed to one vendor. So if you use multiple vendors, which I want to say every single company has to use multiple vendors, they allow that. So is that correct, Andy? Am I saying that right?
Yes, we don't have any partnerships with anybody. We have no intention to ever do that. So you can upload all of your pricing into Glazier, and then select your vendors as you go through. Alrighty, I think we have figured this out.
Andy, what's your background while you're doing that? Like, what were you a Glazier? Are you a software developer? What, like?
Yeah, I've been in sales my whole life. So previously to this, I was selling software for a like an e-commerce company. Honestly, I think I joined here almost 2 years ago now. It was more, I don't know, my dad was like a small contractor at one point. My mom had a business. I'm from like Buffalo. I'm just used to, I couldn't really relate to the white collars of the world. I just kind of enjoyed the small business owner in small towns and, family owned, like our family's had a restaurant since 1946. Like it took it over, and it's just people trying to do the best they can with what they have and know. And yeah, I found it really fascinating, honestly.
I got you.
I'm enjoying
I
it.
didn't know. So you're more involved with the sales side of things and not so much like the development side of things.
I couldn't remotely tell you how to develop anything.
Okay.
I show up to our engineering meetings and it's a different language to me, honestly. I'm trying to. There we go. All
Are
right.
the developers in-house or you outsource the development?
Good question. All in-house. So we have 4 full-time engineers. Everything we do is in-house. We don't outsource anything. We outsource some design work, but that's just how it supposedly will look when we build it. It doesn't really. All of the actual builds are internal.
That's nice to keep control over the.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Alright.
rare.
It is relatively, yes. Yeah, most of the other companies out there they outsource most of their development. So I think one of the biggest benefits that, you'll see if people ever comment on the Facebook group sometimes about us, is that everything you see has been built in the last 2.5 years. So we don't pretend to understand how to run your business better than you do. We're very open to feedback, open to changing things. Just in the last 6 months, we've added time tracking. We have added an elevation floor plan view that for commercial projects gives you the ability to assign, say, like 30 different openings on a job, so that if someone out there could have an iPad, they can go through and finalize all the measurements by individual openings. We've added inventory management. We're currently working on smart takeoffs, which is essentially using AI to take a plan that an architect gives you and then do your window schedule automatically for you and go through all of the pages and count them up automatically. That is still in development. It works at like 100% accuracy for when the plans are well scripted by an architect. I understand that's not the case 90% of the time. So we're working on kind of when they don't look as good. But yeah, a lot of things in the works too. Alrighty, so on the mobile app. Okay, so let's talk through a couple things this mobile side can do. So first thing is we have the ability to track time. I want to be clear, not necessarily for payroll purposes, but for job costing purposes. So the app can automatically or manually track time, meaning if you want to do it automatically, techs are still responsible to clock in and clock out at the start and end of the day. But the app will automatically tell you how much time they've spent at the shop, how much time they've spent driving, and how much time they've spent at individual job sites based on the location of their device. So once they pretty much get within like 75 meters of the job, it will automatically clock them in. Once they leave, it'll automatically clock them out. Alternatively, you can also do this manually, which means they just go in and click each job as they do that. The case for that would be if you are in an area where you don't have good cell service, the location obviously does not work, and or depending on how you track drive time related to jobs for job costing, every business is a little different. You may want to do it manually. Going into some job. So if I click into a job, I have quite a few things here. So I can see all of the, general job details. I can see any notes, any attachments that have already been on here. I can text the customer saying, hey, I'm on the way. This will shoot out a text. And then I can also, in this case, go ahead and start doing a measure. So it will always prompt for photos. So in this case, let's say we're doing, just like a simple glass replacement. You have the ability to annotate over top if you choose so. And then to Christina's point earlier, yes, we will upload all the pricing from all your different vendors. So in this case, we're asking for actual glass configuration. So as I select IG, I select tempered, let's say 1/8 clear. this will automatically start filtering through our system to say, what do I have from vendors that matches all of this criteria that then I can then order this from. If I need to add fabrications like polishes, muntins, whatever it might be, I can go ahead and do that directly in the field. I can add things like a location, quantity. I can actually do labor directly here. And then just in terms of how you can customize this can be multiple choice, like a long form answer for a tech. It can be multiple select, whatever you guys need. Once a tech is done, they could hit save. And then if they need to add other things in the house, they can go ahead and do that. In the case of a little bit more, say, custom job, there's a few different ways to collect those measurements. We have a drawing tool which allows you to sketch over top of a photo. You could also sketch it manually. You can use a custom sheet to select a lot of the answers like hardware, finishes, in the case of like windows, spacer colors, whatever it might be. Or you always have obviously the option of hand drawing something, taking a photo of it, and then that at least goes back to the office right away. So someone in the office can start using a program like Showers Online or FHE Shower Designer or any of the other tools out there, really. Now, in the case of the measure that we just did, you have a few options. So the office, in this case, has already been notified that there was a measure done. If this is a simple project, meaning like a glass replacement, service work, you can actually import everything over that I just did. And then this will automatically create a quote for you based on block pricing, the tax based on the job site address, your labor, your surcharges, your default markups, whatever it may be. And you have a quote that you could show the customer in real time, send it to them, get a payment directly on the spot. So in the case of a lot of these simple projects, it's trying to spend less time in the office and potentially just getting a quote right there on the spot. A few other things you could do on the mobile app, but we won't get into a lot of them. Obviously, anybody can add any attachments to this. They can check in purchase orders, which we'll go through as well. They can alert the office of any problems by flagging a job. Really, most things that technicians would need to alert the office of, they can do here. They can email, they can text, they can call. So, moving back into the office.
Andy, while you're doing that, what, I guess, phone service do you use? What service provider?
I mean, I personally have. What do you mean? Like to be able to send
through the software? What
Ooh,
service provider? Is that like Twilio or is that something different?
great question. I'm not sure the exact answer off the top of my head. It is similar to like a Twilio. You would get a dedicated texting number. It's not going to be the same as the office number. So that if a customer or if a tech sends that text that says, "Hey, I'm on the way," it'll come from this dedicated texting number, just saying a technician from, XYZ will be there shortly.
Okay. And does it do like auto texting or anything like that? I know there's some clients involved with that. I just don't know what you're capable of.
So it will automatically text 6, 12, or 24 hours before the scheduled appointment to the customer. If you choose so, it's configured by the settings that you guys want. And then for sending a text on the way, it's just a quick button on the text side that they press and it'll send them an on the way text.
Andy, does it integrate with QuickBooks at all? Any accounting software?
Good question. We integrate with both QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop at the point. There's a few different areas of when you can sync things, but both accounts payable and accounts receivable sync. We actually have, if you're on QuickBooks Desktop, I would argue that we have one of the stronger integrations. QuickBooks Desktop is notoriously difficult to integrate with, to be honest.
Definitely.
We actually have the ability to sync over products as well by cost code, meaning like if doing, say, like a good cost of goods sold report is important to you, Ours actually has the ability that if you map cost codes in Glazier, it will actually send those as actual products into QuickBooks. And the way that that works maybe with some other softwares is that it will sync to QuickBooks, but it'll send it over as like Glazier software with just a total, and then you have to still go into QuickBooks and like change up all the line items. We could sync over a lot of things. It is a one-way sync, meaning things in QuickBooks do not sync back. That's going to be true with every software you look at, including like Procore of the world does not have a two-way sync with QuickBooks Desktop. This is kind of an example of just how difficult QuickBooks Desktop is. But you can sync everything over. We can import some stuff from QuickBooks in the beginning, like all of your customers we'll have all the customers in day one, names, phone numbers, addresses. But if you were to like make a change in QuickBooks in the middle of the job, then we're not recognizing that. But
Does Glazier Software have an open API in case I wanted to integrate with something that something special, like I don't know, something different?
Good question. We don't have an open API. We have currently the integrations we have are with just QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, and then all of the like commercial estimation software. So GDS, Partner Pack, Glacier Studio, we have integrations with. That is about it.
That's great.
Yeah. We're a little reluctant on the open API because really full transparency in software, there's usually two methods. It's either buy it or build it. Buy it usually means you integrate with somebody else that already has the product. Build it is if you say, hey, can we do two-way emails or something like that? We would rather just spend the development work and build it ourselves.
What about like credit card processing and like can people leave deposits, make payments, everything through the software, or is that's separate?
Yeah, so here's that job that we just did. So you'll see all the stuff that I was doing out in the field in the case of sending that out. So this is in the office, right? So we could do that same thing. We could do everything based on the measurements. I can generate this as a PDF that this would be branded to the business. This is all customizable in terms of like, I don't want to show all this information, right? I don't have to. And then yes, when I send this off, I can email this, I can text this, I can do both, and I can include an area for the customer to sign. And then if I want, I can include a payment link for the customer to pay either with a card or via ACH.
It's a super clean interface, let me tell you, because I've worked with GlassPack back in the, and they just kind of like stopped developing at one point. I don't exactly know what happened, but they just like kind of got to a certain point and stopped. And if you ever tried to talk to them, like they had a really messy invoice. And like I remember having a conversation one day, and I guess I insulted the guy because I was like, this invoice looks messy. Like it's just messy the way it's all kind of drawn out. It would not come through clear to a customer. And instead of the guy taking it as like constructive criticism to like, he like got mad at me. I'm like, don't be mad at me. Like it's messy. So I look at the interface and it's super clean.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, our main goal, like one of our biggest priorities in building all of this is to make this as user-friendly as possible. Like a business, generally, like one of the business's main concern is, can I get people to use this? Can I get my techs to use this? Every business tells me they have the worst, least tech-savvy tech I've ever met. Every single one of you thinks that you have the worst one. None of you, I promise you.
We really do.
We've gotten full transparency. Obviously, there's a few people we've never been able to get fully on board. However, 95% of technicians have gotten on board, honestly, faster than a lot of office people. There's less you can do in the app. It's like a little bit more straightforward. But yes, I mean, our main goal is to make this like as intuitive as possible. We understand, the clientele we're working with. But you can include a payment link, set it out.
And Andy, I don't want to cut you off, but we only have 18 minutes left, and I definitely want to leave time. We all definitely want to leave time for questions, I think. And also, plug how to find you and all that good stuff. But I wanted to ask, like, what doesn't your software do?
Good question.
So you guys are mostly all on Smart Glazier. So like full transparency, the design aspect is something that we don't do very well in terms of like drawings and CAD drawings and all of that. We are in development with our own shower designer. It's just honestly a massive project. We have one now. Basically, every one of our customers uses us and Showers Online in tandem or FHCs. Either of them work perfectly fine. It's not that hard to export the data and put it back in. Generally, if you use Showers Online, you guys are doing that anyway, because if you don't want to order from CRL, you basically have to do that, right? So we don't do much on like the design aspect. And then we don't do anything with commercial estimating in terms of like what a GDS or a partner pack does. Right now, we don't really have any intentions to do that. They do it honestly quite well. Everyone seems to be pretty happy with them, so we just chose to integrate with them. And we don't do anything with accounting. We integrate to QuickBooks. We have no accounting software of our own.
Andy, how is not to I don't mean to dive into like your exact pricing, but like pricing structure wise, how does the software work? Do you pay? Is it like modularized in terms of like what you use, what you don't use? Is it based on or like user licenses or logins? Like how does without getting into detail of what things cost, like how does the structure, I guess?
Yeah, it's really based on users. So there's an office user, there's a technician. Office user is also a technician, it's not the other way around. So it's really buckets. So depending on kind of like buckets of how many you need for office versus how many you need for techs. Contracts we do annual agreements. And then they typically range anywhere from like a small business on the low end, like $5,000-$6,000 a year. I mean, all the way up to 10x that, depending on how big you are. But yeah, that's just general. But we don't do any feature restrictions. We may do that in the future as some of these things, we develop a few more things like smart takeoffs and inventory management being some things we may try to charge additional for. Also because a lot of shops don't need those things. But as of today, everyone gets access to all of the features. There are permissions, meaning if you don't want certain employees to see things, you can turn those off. But everyone has access to all of the features right away.
Excellent. Good.
Andy, I know you don't do a lot of commercial work in there, but can you do progress billing through your software?
So we do actually quite a bit of commercial. I think actually probably more than half our customers are like primarily commercial at this point. I was running through a residential job. But yes, so actually I could do a very, very quick commercial. There's a few things you can do here.
This
Yes,
is the one thorn with Smart Glazers. You can't do progress billing through Smart Glazer.
I didn't know that. It's good.
Yes.
Good info for me to know. Yes, so you'd set up, billing day, contract date, your schedule of values, have your different billing periods. This works like an Excel sheet would, so I can go through, you'll see change orders get pulled in automatically once they're approved. A couple things we do here is any purchase orders that are ordered during the billing period will automatically show up here. Any labor that is tracked during this billing period will automatically show up here. So it helps you guys know what you can try to bill for. And then once I'm ready, I can generate a form, and then it will automatically create a 702 and a 703 for you. You obviously still have to print this off, notarize this if that's your case in your state, but it will create the form, and then this all syncs to QuickBooks as well, slightly differently, but
yeah, okay.
And then we also have two other things I'll quickly show. In terms of job costing, as you create your proposal and send it out, you'll assign cost codes. Those purchase orders are reflected against the estimate for job costing purposes. Same as labor, so you can have different labor rates, and you will see how you're budgeting, especially in the commercial side, basically in real time. So rather than wait till after the project's done to see if you made money or not, you can pretty much find out in real time how you're pacing budget-wise. Labor hours is generally where the project goes belly up, right? So understanding in real time where that's at. You can also track all your quote requests. You can do daily reports through here. You could track all of your purchase orders through here. And then the last thing I'll quickly show is in the case of a larger project, you can also upload all of your different elevation drawings. What this will allow you to do is if I create systems are basically frame types, meaning if you have 20 openings, like, 8 might be one frame type, 2 might be another, etc. You can create those, assign those into the actual openings, and then when you schedule, you can say, hey, go, finalize the measurements for openings like 1 through 12, and then techs have access to see this on like an iPad. They can go in, update all of the measurements, the names, add attachments, add notes, so you can track like progress by individual opening.
And now if you deal with a company that's already on software, are you able to migrate their existing information and bring it over, or does it all have to start from scratch?
Yes and no. We can bring this will, by the way, this answer will be true for basically every software company, which is we can bring over customers, basic stats, like maybe how many jobs they've done, names, addresses, contacts within like property addresses, all of that. In terms of like true job details, that's just going to have to stay in like an Excel sheet or something.
You just kind of paper copy that or lose it.
Essentially, yeah, people pretty much like we're going through a process now of someone, moving off of one to another, and it is a process. It takes a few months, especially if you have commercial projects, because you kind of have to determine on your end. If you just started it, you're a month in, then maybe it makes sense to put it into ours. If you're 6 months through a 12-month project, it might just make more sense to bump down your license on the other software to one and, kind of wean them out. It's every business there.
Okay.
Andy, this is a little bit in the weeds, but do you know where your servers are, like where the software is hosted from a security standpoint? How secure is everything? And are there backups and things like that?
Yes. I don't know the exact names. I could send them over. It's backed up in 3 different places. So there's it's backed up like every minute in 3 different locations, actually. So it's very secure.
Awesome.
It would take like hacks in like 3 different locations, I think, for anything to ever go wrong.
Sweet.
What would you say is the optimum size company to use this product? I mean, is a little like one or two man operation going to be able to benefit from using it, or do you really need to be more like 5 or 6, a couple of trucks or something like that?
We have shops of all sizes. Our average probably at this point is between like 7 to 12 employees. I would say like it depends on the problems the business is facing. Um, However, in terms of like things getting lost, people not knowing necessarily what's going on, like what project manager is supposed to be doing what, I personally don't tend to see those problems as big in like a 1-2 man show as like a 8 to 10 person company.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it really just depends on if you're a 1-2 man show and you're looking to grow, then I think putting a software, whether it's ours or someone else's, in place early will save you a lot of headaches. Trying to onboard 15 people is much harder than trying to onboard 3 from a company standpoint. But if you're a 1-2 man owner operator and you're happy there and you want to retire in 7 years and you don't necessarily care about growing, is it going to be worth $7,000 a year to use us or somebody else? You have to make the decision. Generally not, is my finding.
Andy, is the majority of, I guess, your customers, are they mainly like all around repair shops? Or are they mainly like commercial, like storefront, because I saw a lot of plans and stuff like that. Like, is there one or the other, or you kind of have like an array of a little bit of everybody?
We've got everybody. I think the majority does both. I would say the majority does both. Revenue is tough to say because if you're 50-50 revenue wise, you're definitely still spending more time probably on the residential. So keeping the revenue side of the time. Most people do both. We work with a lot of shops that do 100% commercial as well. The area that we don't work with the best, I would say, is smaller shops that do strictly like custom higher end residential stuff that involves a lot of CAD drawings and a lot of design. We don't offer a ton to support the design side. And then, if you're doing high end custom stuff, you're probably also not doing it as much volume. So then in terms of like losing things, it's not probably going to be as big of a problem for you guys. That'd be like kind of the area we don't work with the best.
I ask because I have somebody in mind that I think would benefit from this. So I'm gonna shoot you a message after this, but I'd like to put you in touch with them.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive software. And yeah, I think like Ryan was saying about it's just a really clean looking, kind of a minimal, not crowded, but really clean looking documents and stuff. Very nice.
So what's the next step? Like
Yeah.
what's in development? What's on the pipeline? It seems like you guys innovate, or at least you have plans to innovate. I like to know what's next.
Yeah, good questions. Takeoffs is the next like big project. So essentially trying to like the long-term goal is that you will upload your drawings from an architect. We will do the takeoff for you. Then we will also pretty much do like what GDS does for you. And because we have all of your pricing in there, you could like automatically set it off to the vendor. That'd be like the long-term goal, right? Right now, it's just really being able to get AI to like read a bad plan from an architect, which is depending on who the architect is, right? Inventory management we just released. What we are working on next is right now it's mostly for like hardware, door hinges, stuff like that. Like you have one, you use it, now you're down to 0 or whatever. We are adding in waste, meaning if you have a sheet of glass and you cut that, at what point does it become waste? Does it become another product? So it'll automatically pull the right piece of glass to actually use.
Nice.
That's a little more complicated. Nobody really does that great. It's kind of different by business as well. But yeah, those are the next 2 larger projects I would say coming up.
So you have it set up where, like, if you're a glass shop and you're cutting glass and you stock glass, you stock sheets of glass. Do you have it set up so when you cut glass, is that what you're saying?
That's what's coming next in inventory. So right now, if you have a sheet of glass and you use that, it will automatically go. Like if you have 10, it'll go to 9.
Yep.
That's not really the case because you could cut half of it, or like a stock length, same thing, right?
Right.
What we are adding is basically when it'll automatically say it's a 12-foot stock length and you cut it 6 feet, that it'll create another one that is 6 foot. And then when you get to 2 feet, then it'll automatically calculate that as like waste. That takes a little bit more. That's also where our customers come in handy of kind of helping us on that because that's a little bit more complicated one.
Yeah, you have to get your shop floor kind of in line, and I know.
Every business does it a little differently too, which those are the ones that make the software a little more complicated is when it's business by business, it's different.
That problem is actually a really impressive one to solve too. That's something that like optimization candidates for PhDs solve. And that was my degree. And that's something that hasn't been solved really well yet. So that's really cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, it's almost like an algorithm that you need to solve that. It's like it's not simple math problem. Especially when you have a lot of parts that are all different sizes or like a lot of like typical sizes and then a bunch of little random ones. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of work figuring that out.
I like your idea of the AI trying to read the plans because I've actually been trying to do something a little bit unorthodox, I guess, and use AI to like send a screenshot of. I use Smart Glazier as well, so I try to send a screenshot of a couple different screens in Smart Glazier and have either Grok or ChatGPT look at it, analyze it, and then try to figure out like, hey, that should have another clip, or hey, there's a hinge missing, or something like that. But so I've been trying to train that just to as like an extra step of like to check the engineering on the things to try to eliminate some mistakes, but we're still kind of messing around with it. So I like the AI idea.
Yeah, like this was a very quick one, but basically it automatically counted up like the A's, the B's, the A2004, and then it goes through individually. And like in this case, it went through and it counted 5 Fs, 3 Gs, and it just does all of that for you, which these are all quite accurate. So
That is pretty nice.
it is basically a beta version right now. Essentially, like, it is a product. I just would not necessarily, there's still double checking involved, but it is well on its way. It's not an idea. Like, it is, it's there. And if you have a plan that is like well drawn out and like annotated quite well, it works at pretty much 100% accuracy right now. I just, again, I understand that's not the majority of the plans you get.
That's the truth.
If we could solve that problem, it'd be different.
You need a product for architects.
Yeah. I always joke that if we helped you guys find quality labor, then we would also be the richest company. Don't do that. So
right on, Andy. Thanks a lot. So the website is glaziersoftware.com, just like it sounds. Glazier software.com. And Rob posted a link into the chat if you haven't seen that yet. It is glaziersoftware.com/pound form. You can go there to sign up for a demo. And that will be in the description of this video. And if you're listening on audio, if you're listening on a podcast on the job or in your car or something, you may want to check out the video because there's a lot of great visual stuff that you will benefit from. This will be posted on YouTube. You can find it in the Facebook group if you're a member. And if you're not a member, why not? You should be a member. Come on, man, get with it. Andy Reid, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. It was really quite informative. Any final thoughts as we part?
Thanks for having me. It went, faster than I anticipated, so I wish I could have shown more, but
It was quick.
reach out. Yeah, reach out anytime. You guys can go to the website. Obviously I'm on the Facebook page, so feel free just to like message me too or something on there. Info's everywhere. Whether I'll reach out or another person on our team will reach out. But yeah, go on the website, tell other people, and appreciate talking to everybody for a bit.
That's great. We'll be looking for you later for an update. I mean, I can see that this is something that is very well developed and is still in the process. And I think nowadays, especially with software, people kind of expect if they have a subscription software, people kind of expect it to be always improving. I think Michael was, kind of alluding to that, like, hey, if you've got something and it doesn't seem like it's being updated, people almost feel like they're being cheated, So kudos to you, and your company for, just continuing to raise the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we like building things, so
we all like building stuff. That's why
more people that come on, the faster we can build things. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for showing up, and it's great to see you all. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.
All right. Good night.
Bye. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thank you,
Andy.
Andy.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.